Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, and this is How to Become a Film Nerd in 30 Days. I have a big dilemma. I love films, but I haven't watched some of the most iconic, most quoted, and the best films that have ever been made. And I actually want to go into film myself. I want to become a filmmaker. I want to become an actress as well. So I feel like I really need to get on this problem and try and improve my knowledge about film. So I'm going off Urban Dictionary and I'm going to give you a little description of what a film nerd means. In Urban Dictionary, it says one who possesses knowledge pertaining to films that many may find extraordinary. So that is what a film nerd is, according to Urban Dictionary, but it can mean a whole range of things. They often have like a great knowledge of how films are made, directors, actors, genres, and the history of film. So these are just some of the things I'm going to be trying to dive deep into in this whole process. Some of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be watching a lot of films. I'm going to be learning about films, like the history, how they're made, different techniques, directors, all this stuff like that. I'm going to be studying film as well. I'm also going to be trying to collect physical media because I think it's very important. And I'm also going to try and create a great Letterboxd account. I do have a Letterboxd now, but my account is kind of weak. I don't have many reviews, so I'm going to learn how to review. I also want to choose my top 4 in Letterboxd because I know that means a lot. So yeah, those are some of my goals. We will see how it goes as we go through this process. I've got Citizen Kane. This is obviously widely known as one of the best films of all time. A lot of people love this. I've never watched this before. This is available on streaming sites, but I really wanted to get it brand new. And obviously what comes with a DVD, you've got special features. You've got the commentaries that they do and interviews. So I love that and it's going to be very useful. Now I've also got Train to Busan. This is one of my favourite films of all time so far. I've got City Lights and Roman Holiday. Some older films. I'm definitely going to be watching these because they look great. And Little Women, great film. I've got Call Me By Your Name, sorry. A lot of people love this, I know. I'm gonna watch this. We've also got Little Miss Sunshine, which is one of my favourites, so I had to get this in DVD form. And of course, Casablanca, also very well rated. The Shining, iconic Stanley Kubrick film. I've got 12 Angry Men, also rated as one of the best films of all time. Memento, Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest directors in current time. I've also got Crazy Stupid Love. I also have access to a range of streaming sites which I can watch films on more accessibly. I'm going to take you through my Letterboxd. It will give you a little bit of an insight into my favourite films and some of the recent activity I've done. If you cannot see, I've rated a lot of my films kind of 5-star, and this is because I just love these films and I didn't know how to be kind of really picky on them, and I didn't know how to rate really. I don't know what criteria I'm going by. Why do I put this at one number and this at another number? So if I really like a film, it's probably been put at 4 or 5 stars. I put things at 4 stars if I could see a little bit of fault or I got bored at a moment. But if I put it at 5 stars, I loved it. I enjoyed it. But hopefully we can learn through this process to be a bit more critical and actually put things to a number rather than just be I love it, oh, I love it. 5 stars for everything, because that is not what critics do. That is not what film nerds do. So I need to unlearn that behaviour and be a bit more critical and practical about it. I want to know some films that you think everybody should watch. Probably from like a more filmmaking perspective.
To help filmmakers, so someone that's really driven with great craft. Um, I think one of the greatest current filmmakers is Chris Nolan. So famous for people like films like Interstellar and Dunkirk. So some of the Dunkirk scenes, for example, are spectacular action shots. But what he also manages to do is, have you seen Dunkirk?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the young soldiers are hiding in the hull of the boat and the bullets are flying in, they're all terrified.
Yeah.
So he not only does this great action stuff, but he also doesn't lose sight that these are people, young men who are terrified by there's something out there. They can't even poke their head out because these bullets are going to come flying in. And he captured that fear. So I think Chris Nolan is a great craftsman who breaks down his scenes wonderfully, wonderfully well and crafts them for emotional impact. Okay. Uh, there's Roger Ebert talked about how films were an empathy machine. It's getting emotionally involved and entangled with that, and I think that's a great one. And I think another contemporary filmmaker who I think is very good at surprisingly evoking that level of empathy and emotion is Denis Villeneuve, who made Arrival, which is I think a wonderful, touching film. I'm a parent. I got 5 kids. And it's a film about parenthood, but yes, it's a sci-fi and it's got aliens and stuff like that. But there's a bigger picture. The macro and the micro scale and scope of that story is so touching. So obviously came from a book, but yeah, wonderfully converted into a wonderful film. I think technically as well. I like the plotting of. I don't know if you know the rom-com Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell.
Yes.
So if you look at that from a script structure point of view, how all the little subplots interweave and come to a fantastic culmination in that final fight scene in the garden, where you think this is going to be, oh, what if and it's almost 17th century farce what
Yeah.
happened. So I think the writing in that and the structuring of the story is fabulous. So I think that's there are so many different components to filmmaking, and I think story and structure is one. Empathy and how you get there, the technical craft of setting up scenes with Chris Nolan, and but I suppose, but I think also though in terms of grandeur and scope, and to truly appreciate that cinema is a shared experience for humanity. I have to think about, well, is there a filmmaker I would point to sort of internationally, and I would point to a Japanese director, Akira Kurosawa, whose film Ran is a retelling of the King Lear story, but set in 14th century Japan and warring chieftains, incredibly bloody, and so, but it's great, and it's bold, and it's enormous, and compelling and tragic because it's this Shakespearean story.
So my to-do list for this challenge is to watch at least 30 films. So yesterday was day 1 and I watched just the one film. But I watched Black Swan,